verse 1 to 4. And I read, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever, and forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." This speaks to the time that we are today. But before we proceed, let's look at our memory verse. Our memory verse is taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. I want us to read together. I want us to chorus it after the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. "Wherefore, therefore, ye eat or drink, or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God." 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Let's take it again. 1, 2, go. "Whether therefore ye eat or drink, or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God." 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Artificial intelligence and Christianity. From time to time, technology had existed. Everything that we currently use today centers around some form of technology. And when we talk about technology and innovation particularly, we always think that it's just about the science, but it's more about the processes, right? The processes. And what gives birth to that process is a level of, or future of steps that people put together to say, this should become this. And that thing we call technology. So, for example, the simple things like steps is a process for you not to fall. So when you're climbing down from a house, for example, that is elevated, a little bit elevated, it is easier for you to fall and crash and misstep when there are no steps. Then some people will say, what can we do to solve this problem? I'm sure probably iteration, if you see the iterations of what led to become steps, you'll be shocked. But some people ended up coming up with steps. Engineers came up and said, let us put steps. Something that people can climb up and down. Now, that process of thinking is based on what we call intelligence. So therefore, when we talk about artificial intelligence, what then do we mean? We will get to the details, and I want us to answer that question down the line. But I want us to remind ourselves of the story of the Tower of Babel. In Genesis chapter 11, I would have loved that we read from 1 to 6. But I will read verse 3 and then verse 5. Genesis and then 5 and 6. Verse 3 says, "And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar." Now let's look at 5 and 6. And I like how another version said it, but don't let us go into the another version now. 5 and 6 says, "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have one language, and these they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." And for me, this also speaks to how intelligence, how technology, let me put it this way, how technology starts, right? But you can see that it starts from people imagining. It starts from a level of reasoning. And that's what we're here to talk about this morning. You must have heard in the news, in our lives, everybody's talking about AI, AI, AI.